Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Big news day on Duck Insider, starting off with a live interview. Taylor Susnara
Let's
is
go!
Here. Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach. Last week, we were able to tell you some historic news for Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling, for Acrobatics Tumbling as a sport, officially now joining the NCAA. We're going to break down what that means, what it means for not just a coach, but maybe for a former competitor in herself, a former All-American. And when I said, hey, Coach, I think we got to do something this week, Coach was like, yep, I'll be there. And so we get to kick off with a lot of exciting, and I imagine kind of an emotional time for you and your student athletes, right, Coach?
For sure. There have been happy tears the last couple of days, and, just so thrilled to be here. So thanks for having me.
So let's back up and take us through the whole process. I know there's some nuts and bolts and some complex things with how you become an NCAA sport. Take us through from your chair. How's this all gone? How's it come together?
Sure. I'll give you SparkNote version.
I like that.
It might take a while, but, I started my journey with acrobatics and tumbling in high school. Coach V, Coach U here at the time recruited me. I was able to join the Ducks, did that for 4 years. And when I started out, there were maybe like 10, 14 schools max competing. And so now that we're close to 60 is absolutely amazing. And it just shows all of the hard work, the sheer belief that our administration had in acro, our leaders, Janelle Cook, our executive director, and just a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, if you will. And so once we hit emerging sport status with the NCAA in 2020, the next goal and step was how can we become NCAA championship status? And we hit that 40 competing schools, within the last week or two. On that Wednesday, January 14th, we had Division I approve the vote.
Woo!
And then on Friday, D2 and D3, and it had to be unanimous to hit that championship status, and we did that, and you best believe we were celebrating, confetti everywhere, and happy tears. So.
Well, on Wednesday, when the decision came at the D1 level, I thought, okay, it's like that cautious optimism,
yes.
But you don't want to put all your eggs in the basket. And then when the news came down from the NCAA convention, that's why this is happening right now, by the way. The NCAA convention was going on last week, and were you like sitting on pins and needles? Like, was there like edge of seat? You're nervous, or I feel like we all kind of thought this would happen, right?
For sure. Yeah. I had all the hope and optimism in the world that this would be approved. However, there's just that 1% of you that's like, what if not?
What if not?
And so, yes, I was anxiously awaiting with JC and Ashley. And once we got that news, we were jumping up and down.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
Talking acrobatics and tumbling, head coach Taylor Susnara. Can we go back to like 17-year-old Taylor Galvin?
Mm-hmm.
What would 17-year-old Taylor have thought about this whole process and where things sit now?
I think she would have said, like, no way.
Really?
Yeah. Not because I didn't believe, but 17-year-old me also, I think, just was like, yeah, I'm a part of this. This is my sport. I'm here as a Division I athlete. I'm competing. This is amazing. And I think it was maybe a little naive to like how cool it was and how historic this could be. But over the years, I've really grown to appreciate the hard work that's come before me, and kind of honestly accepting that I too was a part of history and we hadn't gotten there yet. And now as a coach, getting to be a part of this, new step is so cool that I get to share it with all future athletes and potential Ducks too.
Someone asked me, so how often does this happen, right? Like, how often does a sport get granted NCAA championship status? And I said, well, let me put it this way. The Olympics occur in the summer every 4 years, and then every other couple years, right? Every 4 years then for the Winter Olympics. How often do you hear about the Olympic Committee approving new sports or changing out sports? Like, it happens a little bit. There's usually a few changes. There's some new sports that get added. Maybe they last the Olympics, maybe they don't. It happens in the Olympics way more than it happens in the NCAA. This just doesn't happen often. We haven't had history like this very often. So to put it in context, like, has that sunk in at this point for you here almost a week later? Yeah.
I think it maybe finally has sunk in. And we were talking about it with some of the more pioneer coaches on a call yesterday, like Marianne Powers and, Fee wasn't on the call, but, like Jackie Eshelman and just some of the key administrators involved. And, just coming through and really the only other sport that started at the collegiate level and came down to youth was football. The fact that we're the next sport doing that is kind of crazy.
Boy, that's a good point.
So to be 93rd championship within the NCAA is pretty cool.
Yeah, because you think about that. Normally it's the opposite direction,
Correct.
right? Starts young, and then you see the growth of a sport. There's a little bit more of like for lack of a better phrase, there's more roots at the youth level, but instead you all started with the tree and then built the roots out. I mean, that's a good way to think about it. That's pretty amazing. Okay, now what this means moving forward. This year, still under the NCAA, and then in 2027, there will be an NCAA championship for acrobatics and tumbling. That also means that there will be an initial committee. Who knows what that looks like moving forward, but there's still some nuts and bolts that have to be figured out. But at the end of the day, you all get to put that NCAA patch on the uniform now, right? Which is pretty fun.
So amazing. I just lit up like a kid in a candy store right there. But, first championship hosted by NCAA 2027. I cannot wait to hopefully be a part of that, and I cannot wait to share it with my team. And, we always strive for that perfection, strive for that trophy, but I think that first NCAA trophy will hit different for that team.
No doubt. Okay, I've talked with you a little bit about your journey before, but this feels like I have to ask you in the context of this conversation. What sold you on the sport then? What continues to sell you on the sport now?
Back then, ultra competitive athlete Taylor Galvin was ready to win anything and everything. Oregon was the best at that time, and what sold me on the sport was just the competitiveness, the similarities to gymnastics, which is my roots in artistic gymnastics, and I dabbled in cheer throughout high school, and so I think I just really appreciated the hard work, the strength, and just the kind of the respect that it got. Even at an early stage in the sport. And so now what continues, keeping me engaged and excited about the growth is just that. It continues to get harder, more difficult. I have to challenge myself to figure out, what new skills can we bring to the table? What kind of athletes can we bring in that are going to, enhance what we already have going on? And just the sheer strength and competitiveness that is within this sport.
And the sport's gone through some changes since you've been a part of it. I mean, you're nodding your head at this. Like, there's been many changes, haven't there? Yeah.
I mean, from skills that we're competing to the type of athletes we recruit. One thing that came to my mind is like acro event. We have that synchronized 6-element acro, which is always a challenge, but an amazing one. Just constantly elevating what we can do and really pushing the boundaries is something that I love about acro.
It's a historic time. And I hope that continues to sink in for everybody. And to that point, you mentioned some critical names, really in the sports lore, if you will. The NCAA and just the way in which it has operated and has continued to grow the sport. Like, can you put that in context for fans, just what that organization, the origins from the University of Oregon, and being the pioneering group that it was and is and has continued to do, like, put that in words for fans, what it's meant.
Sure. To simplify that up, I think it's just a group of women and administrators who really believed in female athletics and opportunities for women to compete at the collegiate level, and really just are so passionate. They're volunteering their time to grow a sport from the ground up, and to have sheer belief in the fact that this could be something. director of the NCAA, Janelle Cook, huge kudos and shout out to her. Oregon alum, former director of Women in Flight. She
won the Becky Sisley Award a couple years ago.
Yes, like an absolute inspiration to me, to those around her, and her, in addition to all of the other kind of founding coaches and admin, really just put their head down. They didn't take no for an answer, and really just tread through those waters. And I'm so happy for them and giving us all this opportunity to be a part of.
Head coach Taylor Susnara joining us. Acrobatics and tumbling, an NCAA sport starting in 2027 after a journey, to put it mildly. Okay, this might be an obvious question. What does that do for you now as a coach and for the sport? Like, what actually changes with this momentous moment?
For sure. Yeah. Not a ton of day-to-day changes happen for us, thankfully, but what does change is just overall recognition, support, credibility, the ability to expand more within the sport, adding more institutions. A lot of them were kind of waiting for this next step, and so I'm really excited and eager to see the growth continue to expand throughout the nation, hopefully more Division I schools. The next big step, I will say, is kind of having that shared governance with the NCAA,
right,
but then having divisional championships. So that's kind of like the next phase, if you will.
Do you have a sense in how much it will help in recruiting and awareness for the sport yet? Like, I know that's grown, but
Yeah.
Does this help in that regard? I imagine it does.
100%. It's kind of like that blue check mark on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like,
good way to
okay,
put it.
they're the real deal here.
Right.
And so that NCAA label is going to give us just a huge credibility piece, and it's going to be on the website. It's going to be on their website, and it's just going to help build generational awareness around it, and younger athletes are going to be intrigued by it. And when we go out and recruit, more people are going to know what's going on, and we get to say it's an NCAA sport, which is really exciting, and just overall excitement around it is huge.
And I would imagine that for all of its at times critics, the NCAA still carries a lot of weight with that logo, right? And so when a parent who's like, why should my child be interested in this? That Google search suddenly has a little bit more weight behind it.
Totally.
I'm with you. Okay, I got to get a timeout. Coach has practice to get to, but can you hang out through one break? Because I haven't even asked you about this year's team yet.
Totally.
All right, timeout. We're coming back. Acrobatics and tumbling here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind.
So
Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this?
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, joined by Taylor Susnara, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach. Okay, so we've talked about all the big news around acrobatics and tumbling. Meanwhile, you're still getting ready for a season.
Absolutely.
Right? Practice is today. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, don't be late. Student athletes that are all tuned in, I'm sure. A little bit of behind the broadcast. There's actually been a couple Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling student athletes that have wanted to get into whatever this is that we do in the Country Financial Studio. And one of them is actually, I'm sure, tuned into this because she is going to be asking you for an interview for a story for such occasions like this. This is good.
This is amazing. Yeah.
What's the team going to be like this year?
I think the team is full of energy this year. We have a fresh new batch of freshmen ready to go, learning the sport and having really good attitudes. And I'm excited to kind of get the ball rolling on February 8th.
So what's the returning group like? I mean, I know that's always important in your sport, right? Have that leadership.
Yeah, returning group is great. A couple standouts. We still have Cassidy Koo, Angelica Martin, who were big standouts last year in their freshman season. Blesson McMorris is back for her 5th year. Huge contributor, huge leader. And then, within that group, there's a lot of sophomores stepping up and really kind of in some more key roles than they have been. And so I'm excited to kind of see them compete and get to highlight their skill set.
You've had impactful freshmen in your time, don't get me wrong, but I'm curious in your sport, do you see the biggest jump happen between freshman and sophomore year, just with the comfortability with the sport?
Every time. We call it the big freshman year jump,
really?
Or sophomore year jump, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because their freshman year, it's getting their feet wet, figuring out how to do acrobatics and tumbling, being a part of a team, because some of them come from artistic acrobatic gymnastics where they're by themselves, and so once they make that big jump, you can see their confidence boosts. They have more fun. They know what's going on. So
definitely a team sport.
Yes.
For those that are uninitiated into the sport, here's your call out that on February 21st, when Quinnipiac is here at Matthew Knight Arena, get involved, because I'll tell you, the team aspect, the chemistry that it takes and the amount of repetition, I think that's something that maybe I don't talk about enough when I talk about acrobatics and tumbling. Like, there's something to that. It's a chemistry sport.
100%. That's why we thank you, Women in Flight, for all of our team bonding that we get to do.
That's right.
But yeah, there's a ton of that physical, mental preparation within the team, figuring out each other's needs. We got to do a DISC assessment, which is like a personality quiz, if you will.
What'd you get?
I am a high C.
I don't know what that means.
Basically, I'm a control freak.
I know that feeling. Yes, that is me. I would also, I'm sure, be a high C.
Yeah, like
Scott's nodding vigorously.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott.
Data driven, have to be precise. Yes.
Perfectionist.
You got it.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Did you have what was the most common on the team? Do you know?
Honestly, it was broken up pretty well. I will
Really?
say the least common was a D, which I'm blanking on the name of it, but basically like you're super direct, bold, sometimes portrayed as like mean. Maybe because you want to get things done.
I take it back. That might actually be what I am. I don't know yet. Scott, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
Probably both. A DC.
What was that? What you were?
No.
Oh, really?
C.
Okay. Just C.
C.
No. Is this the thing? Now we're really into the weeds. This is the thing where it's like you can wing something else. My wife's told me about that. Okay.
Yeah. So lots of chemistry.
Lots of chemistry.
Yeah.
I get it. Springfield, Missouri, where things open up against Missouri State February 8th, a Sunday. What's the buildup like now for that? Where do you feel like you're at heading into this?
Yeah. Normally right now, I would say I'd like us to be a little bit more ahead than maybe where we are. We had a great fall term. We did have a pretty significant injury that came about, so we had to do some shuffling around, which is okay. We're good at pivoting, and we've really kind of broken through that adversity, so I'm really proud of the team. But right now we're gearing up for our mock meet on the 27th.
All right.
Woo!
27th mock meet. Let's go.
Yeah.
Breaking some news here. Coach.
Mock meet, and then from there we just kind of perfecting and gearing up. We won't be hitting probably our most difficult skills on that first meet, kind of save that, get a little bit more consistent within those skills, and then when we pull out our first home meet on the 21st versus Quinnipiac, we'll be ready to go.
Injuries suck, but you always have to have depth and backup plans. At what point, injury neutral maybe, do you kind of set your lineups? I mean, how much do you factor that in heading into the opener?
100%. End of fall term, we have a pretty good idea who that top 28 is going to be, but then once we get closer to season, within 2-3 weeks of that first meet, we pretty much have that dialed in, and then maybe one or two alternate spots are kind of up in the air still until we hit the ground running.
I have another page of bullet points, but Coach has to get to practice, which means we'll have to just do this again heading into your opener.
Great.
Thanks, Coach.
Can't wait.
Appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Missouri State, the opener, February 8th, a Sunday, and then Quinnipiac, February 21st, the first home matchup at Matthew Knight Arena for Acrobatics Tumbling. Taylor Susnara, head coach.
Go Ducks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Timeout. We're going to come back, talk a little women's basketball. I promise, there's good things from that game. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're going to talk a little women's basketball. I say that tongue-in-cheek going into the break. I think we all kind of agree that this women's basketball team is really good. It's just that the Big Ten Conference is really good to great at this point. I do want to, though, unpack a couple more things from Coach Susnara. I really did have, when I talked to Taylor, I just said, Coach, we got to have you on. After the announcement last week, it happened on Friday, had a few days. Today was the day that worked best, and she said, I'll come on live. And I was like, that's awesome. So that also, though, meant that she's running over to practice right now. But to unpack what the history is, it was a buddy of mine who asked, so wait, you don't hear about a lot of other sports that become NCAA status, right? So stunt is the other actually in this group that was voted on. Well, there's been others in recent memory, like equestrian, for example, that in a lot of ways, they're those sports that are maybe more niche, similar to some that become Olympic sports. So, for example, it made a lot of news in the last Summer Olympics with breakdancing joining the Olympic Games, right? And Scott's nodding at me as I'm talking about this. And so, but think about like when baseball was added to the Olympics. Well, one of the conversation points around baseball being added to the Olympics was, well, everyone knows what baseball is, right? Like the Olympics are usually where some of those, for lack of a better phrase, fringe, niche, those kinds of sports can have a home in the Olympic Games. And I think the Winter Olympics are probably a better example of that because it's so rare that you have, like speed skating anywhere outside of the Olympics or like slalom, or we even talk about bobsledding all the time, right? Like those very niche sports because you need the snow in order to compete. Well, for acrobatics and tumbling, and I think now as a father about this, like the cost of a sport, right? We all know that there are different levels of cost to a sport. It's why soccer is perhaps the global game. Not perhaps, it is the global game. And I think a big reason for that is you put a ball down, you find something that's a goal, and we can play soccer. In basketball, you got to go find a place that has a hoop. You got to put a hoop up, and you want it to be 10 feet high. But then the ones that adjust are fun for the 5-year-old, but then you got to relearn how to shoot on the 10-foot hoop. So I bring all that up because acrobatics and tumbling, you need athleticism, and it'd be nice to have a padded surface to fall on. Other than that, you've got what you need. And then I've always felt like it's influenced significantly by gymnastics, certainly as Coach Susnara's background is. Cheer, competitive cheer, a lot of similar stylings there in terms of the team routine. But I've also always felt like synchronized swimming is a great comparison for people that don't like quite have a vision of what the team aspect of the sport is. Synchronized swimming, I think, is a great comparison. And I say that because the cost of then something like synchronized swimming is even higher. You got to have a pool. Got to have water, right? I think it really is a great sport in terms of like the grassroots aspect of it. It's a sport that has a lot less cost than maybe 2 of the 3 that I kind of comp it to. Competitive cheer, very similar, Athleticism and a desire to do something amazing in the air, oftentimes. A lot of strength. And I think the way that it's described often is, at least to me, it's a team sport that takes so much athleticism and coordination. But then let's even back up one further step and think about the fact that it's not in the Olympics yet. Might be someday. But it's a sport that is now in a rare, unique sentence that it was granted and it gained NCAA championship status. And it started at the collegiate level. I was glad that Coach Susnara said the only other one really that went from older athletes competing to younger athletes competing at the collegiate level is football. Football isn't an Olympic sport. But acrobatics and tumbling, I think, can be because it has that uniqueness to it. Much like gymnastics. And I think gymnastics as the comparator, it's easier to make that comparison because there's familiarity because of the Olympics. And every 4 years we come back to those sports. I'm excited for the Winter Olympics. Aren't you all over the next few weeks? I love the Olympics. I've always loved the Olympics. It's one of the best examples, I think, of what sport can be. This is a true story. I actually gave a speech in high school. Scott's going to laugh. Thank you. I gave a speech in high school that was all about how sports bring people together. Now, there's no doubt we all know that sports can tear people apart also. But the community and the monoculture that's around sports, that sport generates, the Olympics are, at its finest, I think we would all agree, the purest example of this. And then you have little examples just here at the University of Oregon, now expanding to almost 60 schools across D1, D2, D3 that have acrobatics and tumbling. And here now there's another community that has been built by sport. That's pretty cool. So congratulations again to acrobatics and tumbling. Women's basketball last night. A tight game throughout until Minnesota extended early in the fourth. Oregon actually allowed an 11-0 run to open the fourth quarter. The Ducks fell behind 55-42, then fought back to make it a one-possession game before coming up just short. The Ducks were down double digits, 12 actually, with 2 minutes to go. Ended up losing 65-60. The Ducks hit some big shots, and there was a critical situation, and I was glad that Bev Smith said this on our broadcast last night with Chris. Amaya Battle shoved Ahisa Tute after the whistle blew. There was a tie-up in the corner. A flagrant foul was given after the replay review. And boy, what a lesson. And Bev said this to anyone tuned in, like, that's why we always talk about keeping your composure if you're a coach, right? Like, you can't have stuff like that ruin the game for you. And it almost did. Because Oregon eventually closed after Mia Jacobs went 1 of 2 at the line. Ducks have the ball. Oregon eventually closed to 63-60. Mia Jacobs ended up hitting a big 3 during that stretch. And the Ducks stole the ball away. The pressure defense really gave Minnesota trouble. Couldn't finish it around the bucket. The Ducks then stole it again. Ahisa Tute absorbed some contact, tried to pass it away, ended up back with Minnesota. Coach Graves was trying to call a timeout. Officials didn't grant it. Minnesota ends up scoring, and that was the difference in the game. Made it 65-60. And listening to Chris, I've told Chris this, that I always know exactly what's going on because I hear in his voice like, oh. And Chris audibly did that. And Bev did the same thing. They both just, oh. That's what it feels like, though, to lose these 1-2 possession games. That pressure defense, though, I think the Ducks really had something there against Minnesota. A physical team inside. The Ducks continue to play these close games. It's bad for our blood pressure, there's no doubt. 3 of the 4 most recent defeats have been by 2 possessions or less, and the Wisconsin loss was Oregon's second this season in double overtime. Ducks had one at home in double overtime not that long ago. And Bev Smith made the point on the broadcast that it doesn't have to come down to the last 2 minutes. We're always hyper-fixated. We all know this on the last few minutes. But I think that's where the consistency for the team, and I said this, I hate that I said this now going into the game, that's what Coach Graves had said after the double overtime loss on the road to Wisconsin. So it's not just those last situations. It's a combination of things that get you there. Sarah Tuhina also, unfortunately, was sick, missed the game. Coach Graves said that afterwards. We'll break down what it means for postseason, but here's what assistant coach Lisa O'Mara said with Chris and Bev postgame. And I always appreciate when we listen to these, get to hear some of the Hall of Famer Bev Smith's thoughts on the matchup. Tough one last night. Lisa O'Mara breaking it down.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. What was the difference to you? I mean, this is just such a slugfest physical game, and they just kind of eked ahead there in that second half.
Definitely. The first half, I felt like, especially in the first quarter, we really started off with some really good urgency. We were flying around a little bit. And, we hadn't really talked about doubling, but our players were really aggressive in their spots, and we wanted to be aggressive. I think that's probably the difference is that we, the second and third quarters, we slowed down a little bit, and we got a little timid when it was close, and we got down. You can see at the end when we amped up the pressure that they really don't like that, and we knew that. I think we just lost a little bit of ourselves trying to manage the game a little bit. It got away from us, and I think that was the big difference of, I think we just could have done a little bit more defensively to speed them up, because I think they got comfortable.
We talked a little bit about the pace of the play, and in that first quarter, Oregon really was, establishing and, and kind of impose their pace of play, but not able to sustain it. And certainly Minnesota's going to tighten some things up and come back with a counter. But, they're just such physical, strong players that it's sometimes maybe that's what I liked when you got into the third quarter and the fourth quarter. Just bring that pressure up a little bit to take away that inside game that was really, really
solid for them.
Devastating for Oregon in the paint. But I think I saw the team grow up a little bit in terms of their effort, in terms of their toughness, in terms of Itute was just fantastic underneath. I mean, she was doubled and triple teamed and had to fight through a lot of things, but just really rose up and said, hey, we can do this, but we got to do it together. And then I thought Ari Long did a great job of you in that fourth quarter, just bringing some physical presence to that point guard position. So, you know, the game's kind of won in the trenches, and I think there was some trench action by your young team today that looked really good.
Yeah, definitely, and that's where we want to grow. You know, I think we've been practicing our late game situations a ton, which I think we felt a little bit more confident here, especially when we needed to come back. And then we got some young players out there that are responding. I think we really could have taken advantage of getting downhill and finding our shooters just a little bit more. I think we had some opportunities there that we missed. But like you said, there were some bright spots, and especially love their fight at the end there. But definitely disappointing.
And down 12 with 2 minutes, and you just fight. I mean, you just mentioned it, but just again, the team showing the heart to just scrap to the end and almost getting over the hump here in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, and you could see too, like maybe not our best shooting night, but at the end, when maybe it's adrenaline, maybe it's that pace, maybe it's that defense that led to good shots for us that we knocked down. And so there was some pressure there, and we responded, and we were ready for that. And so I just feel like we could have amped it up a little bit more, a little sooner, and we went to our zone a little bit. I think that helped just change the look for the Minnesota. But lots to learn from here. And again, great environment at home. We're looking for a Saturday. Even better response, hopefully.
They hit some, sorry, Chris, but they hit some tough shots too. I mean, that one-legged by Grahowski, I mean, that was just unbelievable. Yes. So, as well as they played, they got a few on you on that one.
Yeah, and definitely dominated the paint. At one point in the game, they were 1 for 16 from 3.
Yep.
And so they hit those 2 late. For sure.
And now you got Penn State on Saturday. I know you're going to be preparing as the week goes on, but what do you know about the Nittany Lions? That's going to be tough.
Well, similar inside presence. They got Merkel for them, really big post inside, and so even bigger challenge for us. She's really great. Doesn't need a dribble to shoot it right around the basket. We call those 0-footers, where she's right at the rim. So we're going to have to do our job inside, probably a little bit even more so. And then they got McMiller?
Yeah, Kiyomi McMiller.
Yeah, she's really solid playmaker. And so they really kind of revolve around those two, and we got to contain them and make it a team effort. It's going to take everybody. So
that's the nature of the business. Just learn from this and keep going.
Yes, keep going. Big Ten doesn't let up.
That's
for sure.
Right. Saturday, 2 p.m. against Penn State. Lisa, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
That's Lisa O'Mara breaking it down with Chris and Bev. We're going to hear from Kelly Graves postgame, also Sophia Bell and Ari Long. And again, 2 top 25 teams in the net. Break down what it means for postseason. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer.
That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I left my heart in Oregon. Oh, I left my heart in Oregon. Yeah, I left my heart in Oregon.
Doug Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon women's basketball, a tough one last night. They're now 14-7, 2-6 in Big Ten play, with all those losses coming as quad one losses really at this point. I'll have to double check today to see if Wisconsin's inside the top 75 and have make that a quad one loss. But the fact is, and Wisconsin's at 72. There you go. What did I tell you? Oregon is now, by the way, sitting in the net at 28 after that loss. They're 1-6 in quad one games, and they're 1-1 in quad two games. They're beating the teams they're supposed to, for lack of a better phrase, but missing some opportunities. And I think you'll hear it in his voice. That's what Coach Graves took away from last night's game.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to congratulate Minnesota. They played a hell of a game, and they earned it tonight for sure. They were the better team and the tougher team, and I was proud of our effort, our energy there late to get back in it, but unfortunately we dug ourselves too big a hole. We've done this before, and we just got to find a way to win these. We're about four possessions away from being, instead of 2-6 in conference, we'd be 6-2, and just hasn't gone our way when we really need buckets. But tonight we didn't shoot it well. We gave up 46 points in the paint. I mean, you get outscored 30 points in the paint, you're going to have a hard time beating anybody, let alone a good Big Ten team. So, it's another opportunity loss. 3 really good, close games here at home in conference, and we haven't been able to, to get it done. So,
what do you think was the biggest problem offensively for you guys?
Well, I thought in the first half we got really pretty good looks. I think one of our biggest problems, we don't finish well around the rim. I mean, I don't know how many points we left on the court. I get it. Ahis is, she's, a lot smaller certainly than their post players, but we've got, and it's not just on her. It's a lot of players. We had shots at the rim, including the last one to tie, and we just got to do a better job there. We've got to finish better. But I thought in the first half we had good looks. I really did. I thought maybe we rushed a couple of threes, but for the most part, we executed well. I thought second half we played with a little more enthusiasm, but and I thought we got equally good shots. We're just not making them.
How much did it come down to a handful of possessions? Is there one down the stretch there that you're looking back going, hey?
Well, it's a long way away. I think we were trying to call a timeout when we got that last steal, and I don't know. It sure looked physical to me, but they kind of let that go pretty much the whole night. They were pretty aggressive, but that one's too bad. I think because then that ended up being 2 points, right after the scramble, and and that probably was what did it there at the end. I mean. Even if it's their ball and we have a chance to get a steal or whatever, then, the game's maybe change. But she's not going to miss that layup in that case.
Did you sense any type of hangover from the disappointing loss the other day to Wisconsin?
Well, I don't want to go on a Mick Cronin rant here, but the fact that, it's, that happens. That's part of the Big Ten. They come out here once. We have to go out there a lot. And, we played a hard-fought double overtime game on Sunday, travel that night, get home at midnight, and, we have a day off, and then it gives us 1 day to prepare for this team. And that makes it tough, but, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. We've had that same situation a couple of times, and we've played good games. But, yeah, at this, that's always an issue. Certainly, I think the travel, but we try not to make it an issue, so I'll answer it here, but I'm not going to talk to the team about it.
Well, I guess what went behind the decision not to play Katie in a couple of those sequences down the stretch?
because we needed somebody that was looking out on the perimeter. At that point, we don't need twos. We don't need tough twos. And we just felt that, and part of it is coaching, trying to make a point as well. In that position, we have to create, some time for others. And I love Katie. Love her. And she's a great competitor, but she's one of those that just wants to, take it on her shoulders. And we got to continue to, we're better when we can move the ball, when we space this thing out.
Plus 12, and not to suggest that's a perfect stat, but that stands out. Anything she was doing particularly well to help you get some?
Yeah, she had some pretty good activities. She was good on the boards early. She got hands on balls, hit a couple of threes. Yeah, I mean, she can be a really good player. I mean, that's, she's got the length. She's got the skill set. She's just got to be consistent with it. But, yeah, I thought she played a great game. I thought Ari, I see the, the plus minus, but I thought Ari did a good job. She does every game. She just plays with a lot of heart and energy.
How challenging is it as a coach when your team is taking decent shots and they're just not making it? Like how much input can you have on a game and adjusting on the fly when that's just not happening?
All we can do is try to design some sets to get them the best shots that we can get. At some point, got to make them. I was looking at the last game. We had open looks down the stretch, and that kid made a couple of tough threes. They made them, we didn't. Free throws and some other things. And, we just, for whatever reason, we've won a couple of close games, but we just haven't been able to pull these out. And I get it. Our two best players are sophomores, that didn't play much last year. We're still growing and learning. We're a relatively young team out there. And that's an older veteran experienced team. I don't know how many juniors and seniors they have, but pretty much the whole roster. And, and we're asking a couple of young kids to, do a lot for us. So we'll just continue to get better. We just can't let these opportunities pass. There's a lot of opportunities ahead of us. We have 12, I don't know, how many games do we have left? 10, and we have some great teams, quad one. Both of us are quad one teams. We were 24 in the net. They're 15. It's a good team, or 16, whatever they were. It's a good team. But that's an opportunity lost. And we just can't keep losing them. We've got to start getting some of these.
What's the status of Estera?
Sick. Yeah, sick. They want her around the team. So, it's also that's one of the things, it's been so nice here. And we go back there and it's, 12 feels like 3. And, and then the travel and the study, everything. I get it. It's not an excuse. They got to take care of themselves. They're young. I'm healthy. I'm here. And I was in the same way. In fact, I was in the weather more because I walk when I'm on the road and outside. And, you just gotta find a way.
Felipa's your second leading rebounder. You mentioned you were going to need some minutes from her a couple weeks ago.
Felipa?
Yeah.
Oh, she's spectacular. She's like a college pro, She just brings the lunch pail every day to the office and works hard. And I'm going to keep playing her more because she's earned it. I mean, first half, I think she had 5 rebounds in 3 minutes. And she's just pretty solid. But I thought in the end that kid just, buried her a couple of times. She's good. They're a good team.
Well, we get to see more in the film, but just the paint struggles, especially in that fourth quarter where they went on that little bit of a run. I mean, what did you see? You called a couple of timeouts back-to-back. I mean, what were some of the issues that you saw that were leading to some of those easy buckets inside?
Well, yeah, I mean, I called them to just do what we could to stop the momentum a little bit. And I thought we were pretty good after timeouts tonight. I thought our kids executed some sets. We didn't always make the shot, but I thought we did what we wanted to, and we got the shot. Yeah, we're just not, we don't get a lot of points in the paint. Katie Visos gets as many as any of us, right? And you can't win that way, really. We've got to have an inside presence. And Hees is trying. I mean, she is an incredible, athlete and competitor, but, she's just given up a lot of size. And so somebody else is going to have to step up and help us there.
A lot of takeaways from Kelly Graves as the Ducks don't have a lot of time to think about it. Now they turn the page and get ready for Penn State on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Continuing, though, to break it down, Sophia Bell and Ari Long, I thought this is, again, like you take on the personality of your head coach. Sophia Bell and Ari Long saying a lot of the same stuff.
So, what's the attitude right now? What's the drive to turn the corner, I guess, here after four straight losses?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been frustrating, especially just given how close they've been. Most of them single possession games that kind of like, we were able to catch up or we let go of a lead. So, I mean, we're definitely really frustrated because we keep competing, but just come up short. So.
What was the challenge given their size of just trying to create some offense and particularly on twos? I mean, obviously it was kind of playing in a force there. Team, like, what was it like trying to create offense against that?
I mean, yeah, they had a lot of size, especially at the guard position. So, I mean, they played good defense, and then, they had a good inside presence. So, we're just trying to move the ball to create opportunities.
Are you there on the floor at the start of the fourth quarter with them kind of getting those shots inside and then, you guys go on that run? I guess what changed from kind of the opening of that fourth quarter where they took the double-digit lead to when you guys were able to cut it to a one score?
Yeah, I think, as a team, we just come together and we're like, okay, come on, guys, like we got to pick this up. We got to turn the tables somehow. And I think pressing them helped a little bit. We got scrappy and things of that nature. But yeah, I think just coming together as a team and, putting our foot down and not letting it continue going down that poor spiral and just trying to turn that page to get it back, to the competitive side towards the end of the game.
Sophia, you dealt with some adversity, obviously, in your first couple years here, working with dealing with long losing streaks. Just what do you do? What do you say to the team just to kind of keep them mentally always there in the right moment to where just, hey, we can turn things around? What do you say? What do you do?
I mean, I think just given how close the losses have been, like it's pretty motivating in itself because we're really like one or two possessions away a lot of the time. So
good stuff. Talking with a couple Oregon women's basketball student athletes in Sophia Bell and Ari Long postgame. The Ducks are now 14-7, 2-6 in Big Ten play. The Ducks today, after the results last night, sitting at number 28 in the net. Still decent position. Lost to number 16 in the net, only dropped a couple spots. Penn State, the next opponent at 2 o'clock on Saturday, is winless in conference games. They're next up for the Ducks. An opportunity ahead, but the resume still looking okay. A couple updates as we approach Oregon softball season when we return to finish things up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball well represented in a lot of ways, but when you show up on all these preseason watch lists, it's usually a good thing. 10 Ducks, including All-Americans Lindsey Grine and Riley McCoy, are featured on multiple preseason honors lists. USA Softball puts out a Player of the Year Top 50 watch list. D1 Softball's preseason All-America team was announced yesterday. Grine, USA Softball Player of the Year Top 10 finalist last year, tabbed as a first-team preseason All-American by D1 Softball, a second-teamer by Softball American, and was one of 50 standouts named to USA Softball's Player of the Year preseason watch list. If that was a mouthful for you, I can tell you it was a mouthful for me. Maybe it would be an earful for you. Just know that Oregon has a lot of respect nationally. The Ducks are garnering all kinds of these top 100 player list recognitions, honors, whatever you want to call it. D1 Softball's got Grine, McCoy, Butler, Make, Sokolsky, Amaral. List goes on and on. The freshman watch list on the D1 Softball 100. Basically every Duck that's a freshman on the roster. Also today, some broadcast info coming your way. In the 60th season of Oregon softball. That's right. 60th season of Oregon softball. 2 of the number 5 Ducks games at the season opening NFCA Leadoff Classic will be on MLB Network. So that's pretty cool. The NFCA announced that today. Streaming info for the Ducks' other 3 games, as well as the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic, have also been released. The schedule page on GoDucks.com will be up to date as all of these tournaments and conference games get ironed out. But the Ducks will play number 4 Tennessee on February 7th. That'll be on tape delay on MLB Network. And then the February 8th game between the Ducks and Southeastern Louisiana will be carried live on MLB Network at 7 a.m. Pacific. A lot more info on GoDucks.com. If you're ever wondering, where do I tune in? And I know there's a lot of TV networks. There's a lot of streaming services. The schedule page has you covered. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk a little football. Jerry Allen will be here. See you tomorrow.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate,